Welcome back to FOMO Sapiens, the show for entrepreneurial thinkers. I'm your host, Patrick J. McGinnis, and today we are talking to a legend, the great Marshall Goldsmith. Dr. Marshall Goldsmith is the only two-time Thinkers 50 #1 leadership thinker in the world. A lot of numbers in that, all impressive. He has been recognized as the #1 executive coach in the world for over a decade. He is the #1 New York Times bestseller and author of books that have sold over 3 million copies, including What Got You Here Won't Get You There, Mojo, Triggers, and The Earned Life. Has over 1.5 million followers on LinkedIn alone. And as we'll be learning about today, he's an AI bot, Marshallgoldsmith.ai. So welcome, Marshall.
Very, very, very happy to be here. Great to see you again.
Great to have you back. All right, Marshall, as you know, I like to start every episode with the same question, and even you and your bot cannot escape me. The question is this: tell me something unexpected you learned about yourself that changed everything.
What I learned about myself was that I was phenomenally gifted in seeing my problems in other people. And when I realized that, that changed my life in a very positive way.
Is that the kind of thing you learned? Was there an aha moment there, or was this a thing that sort of other people told you? Like, how did you come to that realization?
Well, I was, 26, 27. I was at UCLA getting my PhD. I was thinking I'm hip and cool and very wise and deep, of course. And so I'm in this encounter group with all these people, and you talk about life. And the old guru was Dr. Tannenbaum, who ran the group. So for 3 weeks, I talk about people in Los Angeles. They're so screwed up. They drive around in these Rolls Royces, and they wear $80 sequin blue jeans. They're plastic. They're materialistic, and all they want to do is impress others, blah, blah, blah. 3 weeks, I babbled on about people in Los Angeles. Finally, by the way, being from Valley Station, Kentucky, that automatically qualified me as the world's authority on everyone in Los Angeles. So after about 3 weeks of my babbling, old Dr. Tannenbaum looks at me and says, "Marshall, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to?" Well, I said, "Well, I guess I'm talking to everybody." He said, "Every time you have spoken, you looked at only one person and seemed interested in the opinion of only one person. Who is that one person?" I thought about it. That's a very good question. Well, that would be you. Now I said, "Well, why me? There are 10 other people here." I said, Dr. Tannenbaum, I think a person with your very deep background can understand the true significance of what I'm saying about how screwed up it is to just try to impress people all the time." He said, "Is there any chance for the last 3 weeks, all you've been doing is trying to impress me?" I said, "No, I'm very disappointed. I think you've missed the entire significance of everything I'm saying. I've just been pointing out how screwed up it is to try to impress people, how shallow that is. I don't think you've understood a thing I've said." He looks at me, he scratches his beard, and he goes, "Oh, I think I understand." I look around, I see these 10 heads. I hated his guts for 6 months. 6 months later, what did I say? "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You just taught me a great lesson." Well, it's real easy to see what's bad about us where? Out there. And it's a little bit challenging to find it where? Right here. That changed my life. And a lot of my coaching is I help people see things in themselves that they don't see. They get feedback. They learn how everybody else sees them. So I help them face that reality that they don't face. And this is called our blind side. And we all like to pretend we don't have one. So when someone points out something about us that's inconsistent with the way we see ourselves, our instant reaction is, they don't understand. Well, guess what? Sometimes they do understand.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very interesting, and I kind of felt like I was in the room with you there in that story. Now, you mentioned your coaching style or the way that you work with people. Obviously, for folks who listened when you came on the show last time, or just folks who've been living in the world and are sentient, we all know that you, Marshall, have done some incredible things as a coach, working with folks like the president of the World Bank, President Rockefeller, ministers, not probably religious ones, but also from places like the UAE, Saudi Arabia,
Right.
CEOs of companies like Pfizer, Ford, GSK, Walmart, Kraft. Now, for those who maybe don't know you quite yet, but are going to know you now, what is your coaching process? Like if you could distill it down into
Yeah,
a
I'll
couple of
distill it down.
things.
What I do is I help very successful people achieve positive long-term change in behavior. By the way, was new at the time. Nobody thought of it of helping successful people. Coaching was seen as fix the loser, not help the winner. Well, I'm coaching winners. I talk about the unique problems winners have. And I help great people achieve positive long-term change of behavior. How do I do that? Well, first they have to get confidential feedback. I interview everyone around them. Ask what's this person doing well, what they need to do better, what brings out the best, the worst, what advice do you have for them? I write a very long and detailed report. They get this confidential feedback, which is often incredibly painful the first time they hear it. They're not used to this. Nobody tells them the truth. The higher up they are, nobody tells them the truth. Everybody laughs at their stupid jokes. And then all of a sudden somebody tells them the truth. Well, usually they're not real keen on hearing it at first. I just kind of hang in there and say, okay, what do you feel good about? What do you want to do better? And then they pick what they want to do better. We have a very clear follow-up process. They have to follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. And then with the clients, they practice something called feed forward. Give me ideas, give me ideas, give me ideas. They learn to shut up, listen, say thank you, and go over it with me no matter what people tell them. They don't talk back. And then I measure, do they actually get better? And for 45 years, I didn't get paid if they didn't get better. So my whole thing is pay for results. And guess what? Most of the time I got paid.
Yeah, that's the reframe that I like so much. Just to put a finer point on it, there's this sort of like cognitive bias that people have around this. It's like, okay, well, coaches are, they're taking deeply unsuccessful people and somehow like transforming them into successful people. And what you're saying is something different. You're focusing on taking people who are doing great and taking them to the next place.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? We're all successful because we do a lot right, and we're all successful because we do dumb things. And, any human or animal will replicate behavior that's followed by positive reinforcement. The more successful you become, the more positive reinforcement you get. So what happens is you start believing I did this, I am successful, therefore this made me successful. Yeah, some of it did. Some of it's probably idiotic. You're successful anyway, not because of it, but in spite of it.
Yeah. What got you here won't get you there, as your book is called. Now, we share something here, Marshall, because I too love AI. I love ChatGPT. I refer to myself, I have a whole segment of the show called Pat GPT, which is where I generate responses to things. And now you have your own bot, Marshallgoldsmith.ai, which has not just written responses, but actually, if you go check it out, everybody go check it out, Marshallgoldsmith.ai. If you like the sound of Marshall's voice, you can get it for hours because it responds in his voice. And by the way, the quality, it's very strong. Now, so I was playing with it the other day, and I'd love to just hear the origin story. Like, what inspired you to create? What is a democratization, really, of the knowledge that you have accumulated thus far in your career?
Well, number one, I always want to give everything away. Why? I had great mentors. Paul Hersey, Peter Drucker, Francis Hesselbein. They've always given, they never charged me any money. So I decided I want to give everything away as best I can to everybody for free. Well, it's not as easy as it sounds. I tried for 20 years with pretty much abject failure. I tried all kinds of things. I don't know if you heard of interactive video. We had these clunky boxes people would carry around. They cost $3,000 or $4,000. It didn't work half the time. It was awful. Failure after failure after failure until this year. This year, boom, breakthrough. I'm able to do this. And let me give you some of the evolution of this. I started out, I wanted to use this to share all I know with everyone. Well, it's just way beyond that. It is way beyond that. In the last 2 months, it's just gone through the roof in terms of what it can do. So the original thing was it would be a text bot. You could put in a text and get an answer. Well, that's nice. But then now it's audio. You heard it. Oh, next is video. It's going to look and sound just like me. It's going to wear a green polo shirt and have a bald guy with white hair, just like me. After that, it's going to speak in multiple languages
Hmm.
around the world. So basically, you can ask it pretty much anything related to what I do. It'll answer in multiple languages around the world. And it will also answer for free. Now, let me just give you some examples of this, this is mind blowing to me because way better than what I planned. Now, first, I'm very lucky to be able to do this. Why? Four things. And you really need all four to make it work. One, I got lots of content. If you don't really have a whole lot of content, this is not going to work. Two, you mentioned I got lots of followers. All right, now let's assume I'm going to give everything away. Well, okay, if you don't have any followers, and who cares? Yeah, who cares? Right? You're giving everything away. No one cares, right? I got a lot of followers. Three, I'm willing to give it away. Mm-hmm. So some people have a lot of content and a lot of followers, but they're not keen on giving stuff away. And by the way, this is really giving it away. It's not like there's an upsell down the road or surprise. This is free, but the magic button you have to pay to get more, all that stuff. No, this is actually free. And then four, which is the big one, I got somebody to write checks. It's incredibly expensive. And there's a very generous company called Fractal Analytics is paying for this. They're in India. I'm the teacher. Well, teacher in India means guru. And, they're very nice to me. And it's kind of a good deed for them. And so it's all free for everybody.
Wow. And did they come to you one day? And I mean, did you need a lot of convincing, or was this the kind of thing where
I want to do
was cooking in your head anyway?
Well, that's what I wanted to do anyway. I just couldn't figure out how to do it. And it has evolved. The evolution of this is amazing because originally, if you ask it questions, it would say what I know. That's okay. It's way better than that now. Now, for example, let me give you some. My daughter Kelly is going to trick it. Okay, how is your coaching related to Plato's philosophy? I'm not an expert on Plato. Boom. The thing studies Plato's philosophy, studies my coaching. Here's how it's like Plato's philosophy. Here's how it's not like Plato's philosophy. Here's what you can learn in this. Answers in my voice in about 10 seconds. It's mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing. Then she said, well, I'm going to need a specific one. All right, I need to go see the dean. I'm a chairman of the marketing department in a leading university. I got to go see the dean. And we need to hire 2 new faculty members. We've got 6 great applicants, but it's taken long. We've already lost one. How can I successfully influence the dean? Boom. I mean, my daughter's PhD from Yale. She's smart. It's like she couldn't even believe the answer. A young guy calls me up, Stephen Balaban. This guy's an AI guy. He's starting his own AI company, just Series C, hugely successful, right? Amazing guy. It's not like he doesn't know what he's doing. So he wanted me and Mark Thompson to be his coaches. So he calls us up. We're getting nice dialogue. But then he goes 6 months, he didn't even call us, just kind of sending emails, no reply. I think, well, okay, he just kind of dropped the ball. So what happened, he's doing this Series C thing. So he then feels bad. After the Series C thing's done, he sends a note to Marshallbot just for fun. Oh, I just been to the Series C. I wanted to hire an executive coach. I haven't followed up in 6 months. Give me ideas. How should I deal with this? Boom. Well, the Series C is very complex for the following reasons. I can understand why you're so busy. Yes, this could happen to anyone. Here's what I would do. Call up, apologize. He's going, I don't even believe this. He asked the question as kind of a joke. He asked the question as a joke, and they got an answer. So I've got example after example of this. Patrick Frias is CEO of Rady Children's Hospital. He's going to be a co-CEO. Of another hospital they're merging. What's it like to be a co-CEO? What's good? What's bad? What ideas do you have? That's not that common to be a co-CEO. That's not an easy question. Yeah. I mean, I've only worked with maybe 2 or 3 co-CEOs in my life. There aren't that many of them. It had an amazing answer. Then he said, I'd like you to go to detail on this one element of being a co-CEO. Boom. Incredible.
So how does this, change the industry of coaching, right? Because, and one could think about, I mean, I'm just, as you're talking, I'm thinking like, well, Esther Perel, who is also like you, prolific, has a lot of followers, could do the same thing. And so could other, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Lots of folks who are esteemed leaders in different fields will likely do something quite similar. And so there will be these resources, which are a force for good in the world. How does this affect the traditional way of doing, psychiatry, psychology, coaching? How do you see these as either competitive or as coexisting with these existing modalities?
Very good question. I am an unusual coach. Most coaching is not like me. Now, I actually give people advice. Most coaches don't. My whole stakeholder coaching process, you learn from your key stakeholders. The coach is largely a facilitator. So a lot of my coaching actually is still just facilitation. Last night, I worked with 9 people in a team coaching session from Singapore. And, they're mostly learning from each other, and I'm facilitating the process. Well, MarshallBot doesn't do that. What MarshallBot provides is knowledge and information, not coaching. See, the reason a coach has value is not basically sharing knowledge. The reason a coach has value is they facilitate a process to help people learn from themselves, to help them learn from people around them. And if you're in the knowledge sharing business as a coach, you can't compete with this thing. Let it go. I can't compete. Look, I got ranked #1 coach and leadership thinker for years. I can't compete with it. No offense. If I can't compete with it, you can't either. You can't compete with this thing. It is smart, right? And it is smart and fast and speaks going to speak multiple languages. You can't get in that game. Most coaches are not in the game anyway, though. This isn't a coaching bot. This is about the same to share knowledge and to share information. Now, how you can use it, though, is you can use it as an adjunct to help your clients. Now, let's say a client says they have a problem with delegation. All right, boom, ask MarshallBot. It'll give you a very detailed answer. Now, I'm a Buddhist. One of the big things I teach is called feed forward. The essence of feed forward is simple. You ask for ideas, you listen, and you say thank you. If you get a good idea, you say thank you. You get a stupid idea, you say thank you. You don't put down people who give you ideas. You just thank them. You don't promise to do everything. Buddha said, only do what I teach if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it. You're an adult. Don't do it. Well, MarshallBot, you ask it a question. It's programmed to probably give you a bunch of ideas. Let's say give you 7 ideas. Now, let's say 5 of them you think are useless. 2 work. Good. You're 2 ahead. It's free anyway. What do you got to lose? It's free. By the way, one of my friends says a good saying, you will not learn less.
One of the things that I love about chatbots in general, and one of the things I find so fascinating about this entire evolution of technology, is the fact that one of the jobs of the future, one of the jobs of today, I mean, I actually know people who do this, is prompt engineering. It's about learning to ask smarter questions. And I think we can agree, Marshall, you and I are both in the boat that we believe that asking better questions is a real unlock in terms of everything one does in life, whether it's personal, private, you name it. And so one of the things I was thinking about, and I just love your take on this, is like when one uses this product,
right,
when one uses this Marshall, you actually, it's a really great opportunity to practice asking better questions, and then seeing when you ask a question what kind of response you get, and playing around with upping the game in terms of the quality of the question you're asking. I'd love your thoughts on how we can ask better questions and practice with the bot.
Well, Brandon Murgard manages the whole stakeholder coaching process I do. Mm-hmm. So he and I did some videos together using MarshallBot. He said, I think I want to talk about how to use MarshallBot to design a course in stakeholder coaching. I said, look, Brandon, we don't have to oversell this. This thing is smart, right? Don't promise stuff you can't deliver. He said, well, wait a minute. Boom, there it is. I'm going, whoa. I had no idea it would even do that. I had no idea it would do that. Here's a whole course outline. Let's see. Tell people how to do the feed forward exercise that I do in experiential activity. How do I do it? How do I set it up? How do I debrief it? Boom, there it is. I mean, look, this thing does stuff I had no idea it could do. It answers questions I had no idea it could answer. How is your work related to, I don't know, like I said, Islamic philosophy? I mean, I work in the Middle East a lot. I'm not the world's expert on Islamic philosophy. I can tell you though, boom, 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 boom. And I've had people know a lot about Islamic philosophy, and this answer is amazing. So it is. Now, the other thing that's key to this is go in depth. That's a very important point. Go in depth. Now, what do I mean by that? My friend Patrick, Dr. Patrick says, tell me about this business of being a co-CEO. Then he says, setting boundaries. Well, I wish I learned more about that. Ask it that. Boom. It goes into much more. I don't know when it stops, but it doesn't seem to want to stop. It just keeps going. My friend Alan Mulally I just talked to yesterday. Alan is one of the great CEOs in history. He was CEO of Ford that saved the company. And, he had 97% approval rating from every employee in the UAW, which is ridiculous. We're writing a book together. Alan says to Marshallbot, okay, tell me about Alan Mulally's working together process. Boom. And he's an engineer. If it had one word wrong, you'd know it. Then he said, well, that's a good answer. I'd like to know more detail about this business plan review process. Boom. Look, he said it was a perfect answer. He's the guy that made up the process, not me. It's mind-blowing. And, a couple of thoughts. One thought, and I don't know all your listeners, but one thing that happens frequently with coaches is they say stuff like, well, I'm not sure I should support this whole AI thing. Hello out there.
The train's leaving the station, people.
No, this
you can't deny
long.
it. It's just you can't deny. It's like I don't know how to think about computers. It's here. Accept it.
Yeah, it's like right? I don't like the internet. Okay, who cares?
Yeah, you just have to embrace change.
Like, excuse me, there are also trillions of dollars on this table, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. and Ms. Coach, you don't like this, and that's a massive who cares. Because this, as you said, this train has left the station.
If you're a coach and you're resistant to change, then you need to do what Dr. Tannenbaum did and question it.
Look at him. Yeah, where's the problem?
Yeah,
the problem's right here. Yeah, this is look. My feeling, Martin Lindstrom is probably the world's expert on social media and branding. And he's a good guy. Martin won't even carry around a cell phone because he thinks it rattles your brains. And he's working on the world's largest metaverse project. I said, why are you doing this? This thing has potential to be phenomenally addictive. You know what he said? It's going to happen anyway. I just want to do something good here. Yeah. Look, this AI thing is going to happen. We're not going to stop this. You got to grow up on that one. We're not going to stop this stuff. It's here, right? Option A, do something good. Option B, be a grumpy old man. When I was a little boy, we didn't have these computer. Come on.
I like option B, but anyway, I'm kidding. We don't like option B. Marshall, before we get to our lightning round of 4 lightning questions, I do have one question for you, which is this. You encourage people to envision themselves in their deathbed and ask themselves what advice that old man or woman would have for the current you.
Right.
What advice would Marshall Goldsmith in 50 years, you're 125, you've done it all, you're looking back and you're around 75 today, what's the advice that person would give to you now?
Number 1, be happy now. Life is short. Not next week, not next month, not after I do this, or not after I sell another 1,000,000 books, or blah, 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 blah. Be happy now. Number 2, friends and family, don't get so busy climbing the ladder of success you forget all those people who love you. You're an old man on your deathbed. They're the only ones who can wave goodbye. And number 3, which I think I'm doing pretty good of, you got a dream, just go for it. Just go for it. You don't go when you're 75, you may not when you're 95.
That's true. And by the way, you can also, probably in the next release of Marshallgoldsmith.ai, Marshall will wave goodbye to you on your deathbed if you want. I have a feeling that functionality will be built in.
Now, I have a request, though, for our listeners. Go
Okay.
to Marshallgoldsmith.ai, get signed in, start asking it questions. My email is marshall@marshallgoldsmith.com. Send me an email. Let me know how it's going. And I'll tell you what, if you're in the United States and you ask it, say, over a couple of hundred questions, send me a note. I'll send you a free book that I've signed because I want to support people to start doing this. We're already up to 40,000 questions, so I want to get that up to 100,000 as soon as I can.
That's a great idea. Everybody go play with it. It's like embrace the technology, learn something, and then, pay it forward and share advice. And then Marshall will say thank you, right? Feed forward. Now, Marshall, I have 4 questions for you. Rapid round. Here we are. First one is, what is a favorite quote?
What got you here won't get you there.
That's good. I like that. All right. Very good. Number 2, name one book or podcast that every FOMO Sapien should know about.
Old Path, White Clouds by Thich Nhat Hanh, the book.
Fantastic. Number 3, a piece of advice you give to your younger self. We just did I probably be similar, right?
My younger self, I would not change one thing. Why? I've had a great life. I like science fiction. Change the timeline. It could get better. Probably going to get worse. I'm declaring victory here. You know what?
Yeah.
Let's just. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just fine. So younger self. By the way, all the mistakes I made, which I made many mistakes. You get rid of the mistake. You get rid of everything you learn from the mistake.
Oh yeah, butterfly effect right there.
I'm
Boom.
good. I'm good.
All right. And final one. What's your most important memory?
My most important memory is after I broke my neck, didn't know I'd ever walk again. And I said, if you can ever walk again, never complain.
All right. Everybody, go to Marshallgoldsmith.ai, sign in, play with it, reach out to Marshall, experience it. If you like the sound of his voice, you could probably just have it for the rest of your life. Marshall Goldsmith, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. That was wonderful.